This came out today from NPR. Americans are split on wanting the National Guard to monitor voting, a new poll finds. You were praising Israel, correct? No. Close to half Americans support the idea of National Guard at polling places to monitor November midterm elections. Just mind-blowing. Mind-blowingly. I mean, that you were playing chess and you said you were playing Overwatch. Ah, okay. I see what you mean. Anyways, something that would be illegal if ordered by the federal government, potentially signaling openness, especially by Republicans, to sort the nationalizing of elections that President Trump says he wants. Yeah, dude, Americans are so willing to give up every single fucking freedom they have. Data point comes from new NPR PBS News and Marist poll out Wednesday, which found that 46% of Americans support the idea compared to 54 who say they oppose it. Finding is complicated by the fact that the National Guard can legally be used to support elections in many capacities when ordered by state governors. And many Americans may be open to military protection for elections. Now the U.S. is at war with Iran, said Florida State University professor. Oh my god, dude. I think the conflict with Iran and recent terrorist bombing attempt in New York may influence public opinion on this issue, especially over the next few weeks. Most of the time, having the National Guard at polling places would seem as unnecessary, but I think the average American may be far more worried about the possibility of a terrorist attack than they are about the National Guard. Trump has not said he wants to deploy the National Guard for this year's midterms, but in an interview with New York Times, he said he wished he had deployed Guard members in 2020 to try to seize election equipment he falsely claims was manipulated. State and local voting offices told NPR they began to worry about the possibility after National Guard deployments to numerous American cities last year. It's just the most simple fucking voter suppression. I wish they would have gotten the race of each person. I wonder if they had the race. 33% of adults, more than 6 in 10 Americans. Because I'm guaranteeing every person who says that they're down for this is white. And everybody who doesn't like this is either a competent human being or not white. In the poll, which conducted last week, a wide majority of Republicans, roughly 3 in 4, say they would support National Guard monitoring polling locations this fall. The almost exact inverse is true for Democrats, with 3 in 4 Democrats saying they oppose the idea. While the states can deploy their National Guard troops to support elections, many use National Guard members to help the state cybersecurity. For instance, federal law clearly bans federal government from sending soldiers to polling places. Dude. America is so cooked. It's as if partisans are seeing the same image but through different mirrors or prisms. They're worried about the election, but the source of these worries, the undercut, seems to be different. Democrats, for instance, said in the NPR survey they are most concerned with voter suppression efforts and misleading information, while Republicans overwhelmingly say voter fraud is their biggest concern. Independents are roughly split between 3 things. All of those concerns are exaggerated or exacerbated by political candidates who have normalized casting doubt on election results, which should be illegal. It should be illegal to cast doubt on election results. Gronk said, "What are we learning about today? Americans do not enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy." He noted Trump as the obvious and most extreme example, but noted that some Democratic candidates and politicians have used similar rhetoric in recent years too. Politicians seem to have learned when they lose an election, one of their post-election responses is to claim some sort of cheating. Feels like right now that rhetoric has entered our political system and may take a while, if ever, for us to get rid of it. We will never be rid of this. The normalization, thank you for the rose, the normalization of people saying that the election is rigged is a demonstrably destroying factor for this nation. Nationalizing elections and saying, well, nationalizing elections would just be a clusterfuck. Trump wants that obviously to have control in the elections, but the fact that people are so willing to give up the freedom of voting without the government watching over your shoulder is mind-bogglingly insane. Genuinely so fucking frustrating. Yeah, 1,600 adults, that's how much you need for a survey. Majority state union is weak. Nation is off track. No go. Maybe they don't really care about elections, and yet those make a difference. Yeah, that's true. I think it should be straight up like genuinely illegal to cast doubt on elections to this point. I don't think it's wrong to say like, hey, I'm worried about this election, and then research goes in, and then research says like, hey, it's fine. But then after that, continuing to cast doubt on it should be illegal. Just prison time. You don't hold an office anymore. You're going to jail. Oh my god, dude. Americans want to give up every single freedom they have. They're so dumb. Like this is part of the declining literacy rate in America. This is all part of it. We like our tasty little treats. We like to be told stuff. And both sides are pulling on this. More than 8 in 10 Americans are expecting technology will spread misinformation about voting this year, which is probably true. In terms of politics, if this year's congressional midterm elections were held now, 53% of registered voters they would support the Democrat candidate on the ballot in their district, compared to 44% who support the Republican, which is good news. 38% of Americans say they approve of Trump's job as president. The number is virtually unchanged from the rating he received at the same poll in February. I feel dumb as a U.S. citizen. I mean, we're all in it. We're all in it together, my friend. Biden approval rating. I want to, yeah, whatever. I want to see what Biden's approval rating was later on. Okay, well, Gallup isn't loading. Where did it end off at? Approval rating was like in the low 40s. So it was 2024. Republicans, yeah, Republicans were not approving, but even Democrats were losing support. Okay. Approval rating of 40, which is still higher than Trump is now. Pretty sure there's a third party we can vote for next election. Not really. It's literally Democrat or Republican in American politics. And the thing about it is, if it's Newsom or Harris, I don't think I'd vote. Because they're gonna postpone this shit. They lied so heavily about Biden's approval ratings. Their internal polling showed that the Biden-Harris election campaign was super, 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 super unpopular. I don't think the National Guard will ever be deployed to the U.S. or to polling locations. Like, state officials will block that so fast. State officials will block that in a heartbeat. Judges, they're obviously gonna be starting to prepare for this because it's very obvious that what Trump is signaling he wants to do in November. But the fact that Americans are willing to like give up the freedom of voter suppression. Well, how do I phrase that better? Give up the freedom of protection from voter suppression is genuinely fucking mind-boggling to me. Not really. Politicians love either having no decisions made or freezing money. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Service members are on active state duties, so they're a state employee. Yeah, because the National Guard does support in state ran elections. Like that's pretty normal because they just run cybersecurity. That's all. But national level, nationalizing these elections, that's not a good idea. Not a good idea.